I'm going to put the Vikings in. I think they're going to look more like the fourth quarter than the first three with J.J. McCarthy's growth and confidence. Listen, Kevin O'Connell was head coach of the year in 2024. GM and Kevin got extensions. Flores, in my opinion, the best defensive coordinator. Listen, that start on Monday was the first competitive football J.J. McCarthy had played in 600 days. It took a couple of quarters to shake the rust off. Christian Darrisaw, the great left tackle, is coming back soon. I like their roster. I like them organizationally. I think after Kansas City, there's an argument it's the best coaching staff in the league. I have the Vikings at 10.
Number 9.
Tampa Bay. Yes, Baker Mayfield. They've won 7 of their last 8 regular season games. And remember, going to a division rival, Atlanta, is a tough ask. And they didn't have Tristan Wirfs, their best offensive lineman. They didn't have wide receiver Chris Godwin. And Ime Udoka is going to be a star as a rookie. So Baker's not only got Mike Evans, now he's got a sensational rookie. Again, I think as long as you have Baker and Todd Bowles, the complement of a confident high-end quarterback and an excellent defensive mind in a pretty weak division, I have the Bucs in my top 10 here at 9.
Number 8.
The Commanders didn't score a lot, but 432 yards of offense. Deebo Samuel, we said he's a great chess piece, was used efficiently, led the team in receiving yards in his debut. We know Terry McLaurin's going to get better week after week. And no defense allowed fewer points in week 1. They spent some money on it. The Giants, there were no crevices to run between the tackles. They were 5-1 in games decided by 3 or less, so we know they can be good in close games. I have the Commanders at 8.
Number 7.
The Chiefs. Then it gets real tight. Listen, they were 0 for 7 on third down in the first half against the Chargers. They had a bad first quarter. The receiving room right now, Worthy's hurt. Rashee Rice out for 6 games. They're still reworking the offensive line. I think they'll be fine. I think they're a playoff team, but they're going to, we said going into it, okay, they'd won 17 straight one-score games. If they could go 8-3 this year in one-score games, it would be phenomenal. But they're a home dog against the Eagles and should be. So they're going to be fine. They got to get the receiving room right. They looked a little out of sorts early, but after the first quarter, they were fine. Chiefs at 7.
Number 6.
And Chargers at 6. I do think Justin Herbert, Joe Alt played left tackle, was really good. Didn't allow any pressures. That was great news. And Jim Harbaugh is also 6-0 in week 1. So this was not an easy game for the Chiefs to go to Brazil. I think the Chargers in 7 or 8 weeks and the Chiefs in 7 or 8 weeks, if they met again, it's a very close coin flip game. I think these are very even teams. Kansas City's obviously dominated this division. But in the second half, Justin Herbert, one thing that's worrisome for the Chiefs, he was 13-16. And the Chiefs, Keenan Allen, 33. Why is he getting 7 catches? I thought there were too many Charger receivers, the weakness of their team, open. I have them at 6.
Number 5.
Rams at 5. They got to keep Puka Nacua healthy, and the O-line worries me, but they've won 6 straight regular season games when starters are actually playing, and they've held opponents under 10 points in 4 straight games when the starters are playing. I believe their defensive line and their defense as a whole could be the best in the league right now, because a lot of these good teams like the Bills and the Ravens, they gave up a lot of yards on the back end. They're young. They were the least penalized team. Stafford was the highest rated quarterback in week 1. And I think after Andy Reid, there's a strong argument. The best coach in the NFL is Sean McVay. I have the Rams at 5.
Number 4.
Ravens should have won the game if Derrick Henry doesn't fumble. Their last 3 drives, they have 17 total yards. It's a little bit of a problem. Zay Flowers, I thought, was outstanding, had his best game as a pro. I love everything about Baltimore outside of the fact that they get these big leads and lose them. And I do think some of this is when you dominate a team for 2.5, 3 quarters, it's hard to convince pro athletes, all gas, no brakes. Here they come. It's not college football. Everybody can play with everybody. Ravens still at 4.
Number 3.
Buffalo a notch ahead at 3. What concerns me about Buffalo, the back end of their defense. Their offense got 500 yards. Josh Allen sacked only once. That Buffalo O-line, we don't talk a lot about it. Fewest sacks allowed last year. They don't allow a lot of pressure. And if they did, Josh Allen can evade it. Now, they're going to face 6 straight teams with losing records, so they're going to go on a bit of a roll here. But that defense on the back end, it is a problem. And that Sean McDermott Derrick Henry broke into the secondary and was running away from secondary members who were smaller and should be faster. So they're going to lose some games they should win because of the back end of that defense. I have them at 3.
Number 2.
Philadelphia, 17-1 since week 5 last season. And I know you're saying, how can they be at 2? Listen, Dallas showed they're a little vulnerable. Now, Jalen Carter will come back. I don't think he's going to get suspended. I could be wrong if that just came out. A.J. Brown worries me. Only 1 target. I sense a little drama. Hyper-aggressive GM Howie Roseman made another move today. 6 trades since the start of August. But I have them too. And number 1 is...
Number 1.
I thought the most complete team I saw was Green Bay. Jeff Hafley is a stud as defensive coordinator. Micah only played 45% of the snaps, already has an impact. I don't see the weakness. Does this team ever miss on tight end and wide receiver and quarterback draft picks? Ever? Everybody can play. And for the record, Jordan Love. You may want to look this up. Jordan Love's last 8 regular season games. 11 touchdowns, no picks, and a 109 passer rating. Coaching, elite. Protection, elite. Run game, elite. Quarterback playing elite. Wide receiver, tight end talent, good and getting better. And Micah Parsons opens up lanes and space for everybody else. I said I have a right to overreact in week 1. Packers.
All right, let's talk about this. There's a lot to clean up here and unpack because this is quite the mix here. This is quite the mix. First off, Josh Allen, as you know, one of the lowest sacks because he has one of the best pressure to sack percentage. So when he does get pressured, he absolutely just takes care of it. So let's not pretend like Josh Allen just has all day, every day, in the pocket, because that's couldn't be further from the truth. And it's just so funny to hear him talk about Jordan Love. And it's just like, yeah, man, we've been saying Jordan Love is great. We've been saying Jordan Love is great. It's just that this Packers team was banged up. Jordan Love himself was banged up, and the season just didn't unfold how they wanted it to, right? Like there was a lot of issues. Not everyone's able to just overcome injuries and just players going in and out of the lineup. Like it's just not an easy thing to overcome. But the way how I like to do the herd hierarchy, this is what I did last year. And I enjoyed it, is I just back myself into a corner and force myself to only look at these 10 teams and rearrange these 10 teams because we go through, because we do this. And then Nick has his list and his rankings, and I'm thinking about doing my own separate rankings. And so I'm playing around with different ideas right now. Same thing with quarterbacks as well. But I did like last year how we did it, where we just kind of rearranged it. There's just I don't even have the top 5 the same way right now. There's just no way. I got the Eagles number 1. Because I think they played incredibly complete. And again, I think when you look at how everyone else played throughout the weekend, because Eagles played first. When you look how everyone else played over the weekend, the Eagles game aged even better. Jalen Hurts, for adjusted completion percentage, was 100% the only quarterback in the NFL. He was the most accurate quarterback in the NFL week 1, and he didn't even really need to target Devontae or A.J. Brown, and didn't need a massive game from Saquon Barkley, and it was against a division rival Dallas Cowboys, and it was the first game of the season. And when you look all around the league of how other teams played, what the Rams were able to do, what the Chiefs were able to do, the Chargers, the Commanders, the Bucks, like all these teams, you're like, that looks really good. Okay. That looks really good. And the defense, there's a lot of new faces there. And week 1, They lost Jalen Carter, obviously, and they completely held their own against a seasoned veteran in Dak Prescott, CD Lamb Pickens. Like, those are some dudes. Let's not pretend like that's not like that. Those aren't some dudes that they have to kind of, reconcile with. Then I got the Ravens number 2. I mean, what the Ravens did offensively was the most impressive thing that I probably saw all weekend long, outside of Josh Allen's individual performance against the Baltimore Ravens. And it's interesting because we're talking about these two team defenses, and that made me laugh because it's like, well, the Baltimore Ravens were going up against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills were going up against Lamar Jackson. So it's just like, they both gave up a ton of points, and that is concerning, right? My concern about the Buffalo Bills is, man, you couldn't stop the Ravens. And my concern about the Ravens is, man, you couldn't stop the Bill. You couldn't stop Josh Allen. But you did actually have him slow down for majority of the game, and then Josh Allen just went into beast mode. And so there is a feeling like, moving forward right now, you do feel better about the Ravens. If the Ravens were to play any other team right now, you would be like, man, I don't know how any team stops Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. I just don't. I really don't. And I'm fascinated to see, how this continues to evolve. And again, when I'm doing these rankings, I'm not trying to predict who's going to be the best team by week 17, week 18. I'm not trying to predict, well, we'll see in the playoffs. Like, I'm not doing any of that right now. I do not care. I do not care. I'm not trying to say, well, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs is different. Let's see what happens when they face the Kansas City Chiefs in the division round. Like, I'm not doing any of that. Don't care about any of that. We're just focused on right now what we're seeing. That's what's fun, to not just constantly just be like, well, we know so-and-so always plays great in the playoffs. Not doing that. Not doing that. Not doing that. Then I got the Buffalo Bills for all the reasons that I just pretty much have already shared, right? So it's the Eagles, the Ravens, the Bills, okay? Then I have the Packers, because I think they are incredibly complete. I think, listen, that the Detroit Lions were disconnected that whole game. It's a combination between Jordan Love and the Packers, and Matt LaFleur being great and being awesome. And I told you that defense was great even last year. I don't know why people were pretending like it wasn't. And I don't know why people are also now still trying to figure out, is Jordan Love a good quarterback? The answer is yes. Yes, he is. But it was a great win again against a division rival. I think that Detroit Lions team is potentially in trouble. They have a great roster, but they, without coaching, it just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look right. And again, there was a combination between the Packers, but also the coaching for the Lions. So you have to keep that in perspective. So I got the Packers at 4. Okay. Then I actually have, again, this is strictly based on what we're seeing right now. Strictly based on what we're seeing right now. Strictly based on what we're seeing right now. Then I got the Commanders at 5. I got the Commanders at 5. I believe Jaden Daniels, Debo, Zach Z, Terry McLaurin, they're going to continue to get better and better and better. I think they were rusty on Sunday. I think they played clearly not a very good team either. I think their defense was really good. But again, Russell Wilson just is a shell of himself. So I expect that. But this is a little bit of just kind of, trying to figure out what they left on the table and what I expect them to be able to do. Because the plays were there. Jay Daniels just missed a few throws. Then I have the Chargers. Then I got the Chargers. Justin Herbert just so wildly impressed me in that game. I mean, he just played awesome against the Chiefs. I thought the Chargers defense was great. Everyone was connected. Some mistakes, though. Some mistakes that I do not think that they can get away with. They left the door open for the Kansas City Chiefs. They could have genuinely lost that game, and that would have just been it. It would have been because of the failure to execute, not because they weren't good enough. That's a problem to me. And that makes me more uncomfortable because I'm like, one of the biggest reasons why I believe in the Chargers is because of Harbaugh and to be able to execute when it matters most. It's why the Chiefs have been able to be so great for so long right now, because they can execute when it matters most. And then I got the Chiefs. I still got the Chiefs there. No, it's tough because I said I'm only focused on right now and not trying to move forward. But it's hard when you're talking about like Rashid Rice being suspended because you know he's going to be there, and you're just like it's the Chiefs are the hardest to do with that right now, especially because Xavier Worthy got knocked out, but you are kind of like, that team was a mess. Patrick Mahomes was clearly not at his best. They're in Brazil. It's week 1, and yet they still had a chance to come back and win that game. That to me is just always the power of the Kansas City Chiefs. And so in my mind, I'm still looking at the Chiefs. Even if they were just as banged up as they were right now, and I saw that defense get lit up by the Chargers, it's still hard for me to not be like, what happens if they played each other again? What happens if the Chiefs do play the Ravens week 2? And obviously we're going to see them play the Eagles, week 2. Like it's hard for me to like still get past that. Then these last 3 teams are kind of a mixed bag for me. But I do got the Rams because I am like Colin. I do think Sean McVay is as good as it gets, and probably is second to only Andy Reid. And Matthew Stafford still obviously has it. Puka Nua, Devontae. It's just you're going to be able to get after it. That defense was great. Again, I think the Texans are not necessarily in the best shape. And so that game itself, to me, wasn't the cleanest game. And I expect more from the Rams, but I'm definitely grading all these teams on a curve right now, honestly. And then actually I do have the Minnesota Vikings at 9 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Right now, I definitely have way more confidence and faith in Baker Mayfield over JJ McCarthy by virtue of JJ being a rookie. Obviously, first-year starter, technically. But that Minnesota Vikings roster is rocking that defense. I have all the faith and confidence in Kevin Unnell, and I do believe JJ McCarthy will get more and more settled. And then again, having the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I personally don't have them in my top 10. So that's why, and I know people are going like, you just hate the Bucks. You hate Baker. And it's like, no. And Baker Mayfield did not play good that game. Colin was like, oh, Matthew Stafford was the highest rated quarterback week 1. And it's like, well, let's see what Baker was. 27th. Okay. Cam Ward was better than him. So Baker Mayfield did not have a good game. I watched every single snap of that game. The Falcons lost that game way more than the Bucks won that game. And again, I do think that the Bucks will be better moving forward, because their rookie wide receiver will get better and better. You will be getting Godwin back, so like, I think this team will be good. But again, this is where it's tough because I'm trying to focus on today and not project into the future. But when you do have players that you know are coming back, that's the hardest time to kind of like actually apply that. It's different if everyone was just all playing right now and you're just like, okay, what do we have right now? So I do think that the Bucks will be better, and I do think the Bucks are going to be competitive, and I do think Bigger Mayfield will be better, of course. But yeah, that's just kind of how I see it right now. Again, want to emphasize that I'm focused on today, no projections, not trying to figure out who's going to be in the Super Bowl NFC Championship game, who's going to, figure stuff out as the weeks go on. Like it's like 95% focus on what did I just see week 1, and the other 5% is some of the other variables of injuries and week 1 grading on a curve, etc., etc. But this is way how I kind of like to do the herd hierarchy for now, unless you guys want it done in a different way, because then again today I think Nick does his quarterback mountain, which I have some ideas with regards to that, and then the next day Nick then does his tiers. So it's just like there's plenty of opportunity for me to keep talking about these teams and kind of how I see them ranked. So I just, rather than just kind of keep repeating myself again and again and again, these types of things I kind of like to back myself in a corner. So, we'll see what you guys have to say in the comment section. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Colin's herd hierarchy? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.